very much for being here.
In different parts of the world, the year is closing with carols, celebrations, festive cheer. But the fog of conflict hanging heavy in the air amid a reminder of falling missiles, continued devastation of cities, and failed diplomacy in different parts as well. But Moscow reportedly has issues with that proposal and is currently analyzing the plan. On the ground, Russia said that its armed forces gained control over a settlement in Zaporizhia region in southeastern Ukraine. While Ukraine, on the other hand, claimed that its armed forces attacked multiple Russian strategic infrastructure, including a synthetic rubber plant located in the Tula region and a Russian base for unmanned vessel storage and maintenance in Crimea. Kiev, for that matter, has shown signs of making concessions. But in his Christmas Eve address, Zelensky said, "May he perish," quote unquote, without naming the Russian president.
Today we all share one dream and we make one wish together. May he perish. Each of us may think privately, but when we turn to God, of course we ask for more. We ask for peace for Ukraine, we fight for it, and we pray for it.
Now, clearly the leaders don't look very eager to shake hands at this point, of course. Despite the rhetoric for peace, it might not look like it, but this is the closest that Ukraine has gotten to talking about peace. And that's all thanks to US efforts to end the war, it seems. And speaking of the United States, it is waging its own battles in the Caribbean. Tensions rising, the Trump administration continuing to focus its pressure on Venezuela, upping the ante with building a naval armada off the Venezuelan coast, while at the same time putting economic force as well. And in the latest, the White House has reportedly ordered US military forces to focus almost exclusively on enforcing a quarantine of Venezuelan oil for at least the next 2 months. While Trump has publicly been coy about his precise aims regarding Venezuela, he has privately pressured Venezuelan president to flee the nation. And Trump has threatened to start bombing drug infrastructure on land and authorized covert CIA activity directed at Caracas. The US Coast Guard is reportedly waiting for additional forces to carry out a third seizure of tankers. The Pentagon has amassed a huge military presence in the Caribbean with more than 15,000 troops, including an aircraft carrier, 11 other warships, more than a dozen F-35 aircraft reportedly. According to the Reuters report, Washington believes economic isolation could push Maduro towards concessions. The Trump administration, meanwhile, believes that by late January, Venezuela will be staring at an economic calamity unless it agrees to the concessions. The prevailing tensions in the Caribbean, meanwhile, have kept the world on edge, asking whether America can actually afford to wage an all-out war with Venezuela, because the Caribbean and Europe are not its own headaches as of now. In West Asia, meanwhile, its closest ally, Israel, continues to be in a proxy war with Iran. The calm feels temporary. Remember, it's been just 6 months since the two countries waged a 12-day war, and already Israeli officials are warning that the next clash may not be far away. They claim that Iran is rebuilding its ballistic missile capability despite the alleged setback that the Islamic Republic received at the hands of Americans in the June war, a claim that Tehran has, of course, denied. And recently, we've seen Iran more openly display and tout its ballistic missiles, its military prowess, even display its underground missile factories. On Wednesday, while speaking at a graduation ceremony for Israeli Air Force pilots, the Israeli Prime Minister said Israel is watching Iran and its proxies, like Hamas in Gaza and Hezbollah in Lebanon, closely, and is prepared to act. A rhetoric that he has often repeated. Listen in to what he said.
As these old threats change form, new threats are being born day by day. We do not seek confrontations, but our eyes are open to every possible danger.
The comments coming as Netanyahu prepares to meet Donald Trump in the US, where Iran's missile program and the possibility of future military action is reportedly expected to dominate the discussions. Analysts across Israel and the US claiming that if diplomacy fails, the region could face another fast-moving conflict and potentially something larger. The Gaza war, meanwhile, we've been telling you about the development, but the region still remains on edge. These conflicts falling short of the one that America is silently or not so silently waging with its geopolitical rival, China. You see, in 2025, going into 2026, the real focus of America's military strategy seems to not be Europe. It is undisputably the Indo-Pacific region. And we are not the ones saying that. The Pentagon, in its annual report, the latest report saying China is making steady progress on developing more sophisticated weapons and expanding its armed forces' ability to operate away from the mainland, including against Taiwan. Very significant. And the Pentagon believes Beijing has rehearsed invasion, blockade, strike scenarios. It says Chinese aircraft entered Taiwan's air defense zones almost 2,800 times last year, which is already a 60% increase from 2023. Remember, Beijing claims Taiwan as its own territory and has said that it is prepared to seize the island by force if necessary. That part of the world continues to occupy America's interests. And then something closer to home, another front seems to be on edge. In Southeast Asia, Thailand-Cambodia conflict recently broken out, continuing to simmer. As per the latest, Thailand and Cambodian delegations have opened preliminary ceasefire talks after clashes killed more than 100 civilians since December 7. And the talks reportedly laid the groundwork for broader negotiations and possibly direct talks between the defense ministers of the two sides. But the cross-border accusations continue to do the rounds, with Cambodia accusing Thailand now of using cluster munitions, Thailand vehemently denying that and says that its strikes targeted only military positions. Neither country is bound by any international ban as the conflict rages on. Air raids have reportedly forced schools to shut in Cambodia's Banan district, while several bombs reportedly hit the densely populated parts. Cambodia claims Thailand deployed additional fighter jets, and amid that chaos and the tensions, Thai Marines rescued 2 lions and 3 bears abandoned in cages near a casino complex located near the Cambodian border. The animals have been moved to wildlife breeding centers now. As this year draws to a close, whether it's in Europe, West Asia, Latin America, or Asia, one reality is impossible to deny here. The world is not drifting into conflict, it is being defined by it. Borders are being tested, alliances collapsing, civilians are paying the price in blood.
To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.